Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys awesome interviews. And today I want to welcome back my friend, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. He is the guitarist of Art of Anarchy. You may know him plus from Guns N' Roses. Art of Anarchy has a new album that's going to come out. This is the second album called The Madness, out March 24th of 2017. Also, Bumblefoot's got another album that's out. He just released, 2 years ago, Ron? Let's see, Little Brother's Watching. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yep.
Yes,
So you guys need to check that out from him as well. So, my brother, how's it going? It's been a while.
Good, my bod father. Everything is good, man. Man, it's good to chat with you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. I'm glad to see you're still doing your thing. And Art of Anarchy, let's hop right into this. So, this is your guys' second album, but I want to touch base on this just a little bit, if you don't mind. Scott Weiland was a vocalist of this band previously on the self-titled Art of Anarchy album. How was working with him, and how big of a loss is this for the music world of Scott's passing?
Oh, it's a horrible loss. Absolutely. He has done so much for the rock world musically. He's I mean, what can I even say? I mean, where do you begin?
Right.
I am, for once, at a loss for words when it comes to that. I mean, yeah, it's just fucking awful. But yeah, as far as working with Scott Weiland, he was always a sweet guy, and we always, whether it was, shooting the videos or just talking on the phone or whatever it was, he was always a good guy. And I felt like we did hit it off okay. I mean, the business, all went to crap, but on a personal level, I didn't think that there was, But he was always definitely, I would describe him as a gentle soul. Yeah. When, for the limited, I don't want to come off like we were buddies or anything like that. No.
Right.
But the times that we did chat and see each other, he was always just a sweet guy.
Let's get right into The Madness. This album's getting ready to come out, and I'm very excited about this for you guys. What's impressed you the most about making this new album? What's caught your eye about it, if anything, man?
Well, I would say the way it became real. That's the thing. Like with this band, the way it started, like you really have to go back to the beginning. We should go all the way back 20 years if you really want to get into it. Mm-hmm. It was John and Vince Voda, the two brothers that they were teenage kids and had bands in the New York area, and I would record their albums and produce them, and we always stayed friends, stayed in touch, and they started getting back into music years later and wanted to make the album that they never really got to make. Back then, a lot of times I was just engineering for them. Some producer would come in and would try and make them sound like the flavor of the moment, and it was something far from who they really were musically and personally and everything. And they felt very compromised, and they wanted to make an album that wasn't that. That was truly what they're into, which is a lot of Megadeth and Metallica and Kiss and all of that, Slipknot, all those inspirations that they have. So they came into the studio in 2011 with 10 songs they had written, just music, and we recorded them, and then I started laying some extra guitar parts down, and then started looking for singers, and Scott Weiland did a song, Till the Dust Is Gone, came out great, and then we all talked about doing the full album together and did that, and John Moyer joined the group on bass, and at this point it went from just being something personal for John and Vince to something more. From there, it did not work out. We put out the album, we got a record deal on Century Media, label was great, put out the album June of 2015, that first album, but Scott Weiland did not want to have anything to do with it. So we started looking for a new singer, and in August, 2 months later, we flew down and hung out with Scott Stapp, and we jumped in a rehearsal room and just jammed, and then grabbed some dinner and just chatted a lot, and from there in September, he came up to New York, and we spent a good week and a half or 2 weeks in the studio. What am I saying? No, just in John's house it was. We kind of set it up like a little studio, but it was just in his big den he had in his house where the five of us would just hang out and just write. And I had my laptop and mics set up just to record the room and what we were jamming, just to save the ideas. And we had a PA down there and the amps and everything. And we just wrote like a band. You know, it was five guys in a room just pummeling out ideas, one or two songs a day. And that's where half the album came from. Then we all had to do a lot of our own touring. You know, John was Disturbed, Scott was doing solo stuff, I was doing solo stuff, and just waiting for our schedules to align where we can get back together to do either a photo shoot or a video shoot or record more and write more. And this is how we did it until this past January, just a month ago, where we were in the studio and finished up the final vocals and the mixing and delivered it right on the day to the label on January 14th. And that's it. We got it done. And finally, after a year and a half of development, you could say, with Scott's staff, of us just becoming something real. You know, bands form in different ways. Sometimes it's going to be high school kids that just are jamming together and it becomes a band. You know, this one was a weird way. It was two guys that just wanted to do something just, you know, solely just for their own spirit. Like, just truly, they weren't trying to make it. They weren't trying to do anything other than just make the music that they always wanted to make. Yeah. And it turned into, you know, an album being released in a band, and then the lineup where everybody was on the same page, and making the second album where we're all truly writing together now, and it became what you really think of when you think of a band.
And I'm going to say this too. It's Scott Stapp from Creed, but when you think about it, and you actually, I got to listen to this album already from you guys. Wow, and I'm not just saying that because you're on here, because it's just a damn truth. It really sets you back, and you have to listen to this several times because it's just that good to me. And
cool, thank you.
You know, listening to Scott sing on this, his vocals are so strong, and just the music is so strong. I think it's pretty damn good, like I said earlier. But you know, folks, Scott Stapp is back. I mean, this is really good.
And he's even better. Like, he's really stretched his boundaries, and I think that's what also happened as we were working together, is that we would all bring something more out of each other. Like, we would just inspire another side of each other, because everyone is bringing something different into the mix. You know, Scott, he's always Scott. You know, you hear his voice and you know it's him.
Yeah.
And he, you know, the melodies he makes and everything, that is just so, they just get right to you. Me, I'm the opposite. Well, you know, I shouldn't say the opposite. I'm artsy, left field, kind of weird, out there.
But it's good.
I don't see myself that way, but other people do. So I'm just going by that. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but
it's awesome.
But, you know, I bring that side of it, so we balance each other in a way where I can make his stuff maybe a little bit, you know, different, something, you know, a little twist to it, and he'll take what I do and just make it more compatible with human life and digestible. And then you have Moyer that, you know, just makes everything really groove. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what he does. All those badass grooves, you know, he makes it happen. And the bass is definitely not hidden in this album. You know, it's important, and it's a major part of everything. And it's not ducked. It's not buried. You know, he's important. He's out there. And then you have John and Vince, you know, who just have this old school metal fire and attack to them. And every time John takes a solo, you know, it just reminds me of like the old thrash solos where you're just ripping the strings right off the fucking guitar. And just, yeah. So each one of us is bringing something of our own into this, and you put it all together, and it's unlike anything any of us have ever done or would do without the rest of us. And that's what I love, and that's the kind of band I always wanted to be in, where everybody's contribution makes it what it is, and you can hear what they're contributing, and their personalities are in there. And it really sounds like those ingredients are making this thing taste the way it does, and no other mix would be like that.
You know, you co-produced on this album, and you produced several albums, actually. Do you like this side of music, having some control on the sound that you guys want to make on this album?
It's not really a control thing. It's more. I have a studio, so we use it. But I do love, I do love producing. Absolutely, maybe more than playing.
Yeah.
Like I really love just taking people's vision and making it exactly how they wanted it to be. Just making people, the listeners, get that experience that they're supposed to get when they listen to. You know, it sounds cheesy, the listening experience, but that's really what it is. Like, what do you get when you listen to a certain song? What feeling do you get? How much does it rile you up, and what does it make you feel, and all of that. A big part of that is the performance and the delivery of those performances and the production and the ear candy and everything, and how you get it. And that's what I love. I love that aspect of it all, and getting creative with that. And you can do the impossible with it. Like my favorite Beatle was probably George Martin, their producer. Like the things that he did in the studio.
Yeah.
Because, it's not about putting your stamp on something. It's about taking the performers, the writers, the artists, whatever you want to call them. But it's about really capturing something special about them and enhancing it or just helping guide it or whatever it is, but just making sure that in the end, you want it to be some kind of masterpiece in some way. So that's what I love about producing. That's the goal. I want to capture moments that will never happen like that ever again and create something that's just going to be one of a kind for whatever it is. So as the producer, it was an honor, absolutely, to do this album with these guys.
Are there any songs off the Madness album that stand out more to you than any, if possible, man? I know it's like picking your favorite car or chick or whatever, but
who's your favorite child? Yeah, it's you love each one for a different reason. I like the song "Won't Let You Down" for the melody and just there's a certain quirkiness in the music, just the rhythm, the it's not the typical 1-4-5 thing, and I guess it kind of tickled something just in your brain, and I like that. I like the tickle. So that one definitely. Production-wise, little things like the intro to Afterburn. There's so much going on like that, like an auto-wah on his vocals going through, a guitar amp and slowly opening up while it has this morphing delay on it. Like just so much production stuff that just makes interesting sounds. Sounds your ears may not have exactly heard that way before. So things like that. Then it could be little things, like it could be just in the song "A Light in Me," where it kicks into the very last choruses where everything just stops and you just hear the voice whisper on the left and all sort of transistor radio-y on the right, saying that line just underneath, and then everything just picks right in with so much dynamics. Little moments. Every song on any album that is out there is going to have certain moments about it that you just love and just those little things. So yeah, I could tell you about every song, some little moment, something that I dig.
For you, man, what helps you keep your mind open and fresh to new guitar stuff? Plus, how hard are you pushing yourself to come up with new stuff guitar-wise?
Guitar-wise? I don't know. I mean, I just think about the song. And that's first and foremost, it's the song. Thinking about that, what's right for the song. As far as getting innovative guitar-wise, well, I've got an itch there, too, that I need to scratch. You know what? I feel like I've got a fever. But yeah, I'm thinking that maybe this year I want to try, and I say this every year to myself, I want to do some more instrumental, wacky guitar music where I can kind of really geek out and just immerse myself deep in just guitar playing and see what happens.
Once the fans start to take a listen to this album, what do you hope that they take away from it, Ron?
Ooh, well, I hope that I mean, there's so many things. I hope that the album just lifts their spirits and just makes them feel something more than they did. You know, that's what you really want an album to do. You want people to feel something. I want it to be a really good drug. The lyrics, you know, I want the things that Scott's talking about to really touch people and connect with them, and for the songs to mean something to them. I want the melodies to move people. You want everything I get from a song that I like. I'm just hoping that there's a whole lot of that for other people on this album. That's all you can do, is just hope that people like it. You put it out there, and it's up to the rest of the world to decide.
When you guys go on tour and everything start to hit the road, what can people expect at a show from the mighty Art of Anarchy?
What can you expect? I guess it depends. What are you expecting? What do you expect from a show? You expect the band to sound good. You expect a good performance, a lot of energy. You know, so what can people expect? Well, hopefully everything that you're supposed to expect from a concert, hopefully we'll deliver that. I don't know what the fuck to say. You can expect us to play our songs. You can expect us to show up. You can expect our guitars to be in tune, and they better be. You can, what else? You can just expect the normal shit. You know, just expect a good show, and we'll try to live up to your expectations.
We are now living in the digital world of recording and getting albums out there much quicker than before. And plus getting music out really fast too, for like even young bands coming up. Do you like this era that we're in right now, or just pretty much say, fuck it, we're just going to have to embrace it and move on with it?
This era is everything that we dreamed about in the 80s when we were making little cassette dupes of our demos and sending, you know, unsolicited envelopes to A&R guys, hoping that they would even listen to it, let alone let us through the door and let us enter the big palace where people are allowed to hear music. It's fantastic. You know, we live in an incredible time. Yes, sometimes it's like the Wild West when it comes to the economics and the business structure and what's resulted of it. But ultimately, it's the same thing. It's the same as it was 30 years ago. Everything in between, the technology is different, but if you want to look at the business end of it, 30 years ago, the band was a traveling T-shirt salesman. They would get a big chunk of money up front to cover the cost of being in a very expensive studio with a very expensive producer. It was very expensive to get music out there because once they manufacture, you have to give it to a distributor that's paying $500 a month just to have it in the little listening booth for one store for a month, while, you know, paying off whoever you got to pay off, you know, to make sure the stuff gets heard where you want it to get heard. And you got to get on the road and play everywhere everywhere you can possibly play. And this is all being funded and it's all being recouped. Mm-hmm. And you don't see a dime until that's being recouped. So you see the advance that you got in the beginning, and then you see T-shirt sales. So you're a traveling T-shirt salesman. All this was done economically for the band so that they can sell T-shirts. And that's how they eat. Now, all those numbers are gone, all of it. You can make an album on your laptop. You can put out a song for a year for $9.99 through TuneCore, and the whole world has it. You can you can put things on YouTube, or you can do Facebook Live, or stage it, or anything, and the world can see you. You know, you can go on the road. Everything now, the funding is more obvious that it's from the fans. You go direct to the fans and say, we need help. If you want us, you're going to have to help make it happen, which is how it always was. It just went through all these other hands before it would reach that point, because still fans would buy an album in the store. So the store gets their cut, the distributor gets their cut, the label gets their cut, and the band never does, but they go out and play and sell a T-shirt. So
Wow.
now it's more direct, where it's, hey, we got we're crowdfunding here. We're doing a pledge campaign, and this is what we're doing, and here's what we can do for you in exchange, so that we have this relationship more direct. And band goes out and plays, and a lot of it is, now funded out of their own pockets, and how do they survive? T-shirts. So really, just the economic structure, the delivery structure of music has changed, but still point A and point B are the same. It's about fans wanting it, giving it value, willing to invest in it, and the band delivering.
What does Art of Anarchy bring to the table for music that's not out there right now, in your own opinion?
Well, it's just, how can you put it? It all goes back to food. I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
So, we haven't invented a new kind of meat or anything like that, but it's flavored and prepared in such a way that is, that you're not going to get from somewhere else. So it's simply that. If you want to hear what my wacky guitar sounds like with Scott singing and John and Vince pounding away while Moyer is grooving, that's Art of Anarchy. And you're not going to get that combination of ingredients anywhere else ever. That's it. This is it. So, and I think that's with any band, with any musician, with anything. Every one of us is our own special little snowflake. And, and there's just one. And I guess, if anything, if you think of it that way, that's why it's so important that artists need to be authentic, and they need to be legitimate, and they need to be true to who they are and express that musically, and be real, because there's only one of each of us, and if you're not you, there's a little hole where you're supposed to be. There's a little void.
Yep.
And for better or worse, you got to be you. You got to do what's real.
Folks, Art of Anarchy, The Madness, comes out March 24th of 2017. I suggest you guys go pick this up. It's really great. So, as always, my brother, it's good to talk to you, and hope to get to see you again sometime. And how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy the CD, and help you guys out in tours? How can they do that, Bumblefoot?
Let's see. Well, Google. Google Art of Anarchy, and you'll find. I'm trying to think of all the handles. What do we got?
Probably Twitter.
Art of Anarchy Band on Instagram. I think it's also Art of Anarchy Band on Facebook. I believe it's artofanarchyband.com. I'm so used to just saying, well, it's Bumblefoot this and Bumblefoot that. But yeah, Art of Anarchy. You know where to find us. You all know how to use your phone. You all know how to use your computer. You all know how to use Google.
Yeah.
So yeah, Art of Anarchy, and you will find us, and we'll do our best to keep you all up to date with what we're doing.
Hey, before I let you go, good sir, you care to do a promo for the show?
Happy to. Hey everybody, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal of the band Art of Anarchy, and you are listening to the BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and Uber City Radio. Thanks, my good friend.
Thank you so much. It's great chatting with you again.